What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, Oppenheimer. Let's talk about this movie. Phenomenal movie. Exactly what you would expect from Christopher Nolan, who, in my opinion, is probably the #1 or #2 filmmaker of our generation, specifically when it comes to consistency. Okay, this guy is a very consistent filmmaker. He always gives you great writing, great directing, great cinematography, great depth of character, the scope, everything about his films always shines through. This is another classic Christopher Nolan film. And listen, 70mm IMAX, okay? Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. This is a absolute feast for the eyes and ears. You got to go check it out. Film stars Cillian Murphy, stars Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, and a whole lot of other people. Okay, this is a star-studded cast, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Great film. So let's just get into the film itself. So the film is a character study, obviously, about Oppenheimer, the guy that engineered the first atomic weapon. But I like the fact that it's also digging into the thought processes of the politics at the time and everything that was going on then between the military and the scientific community. Because you got to remember, there was a lot of scientific guys that were excited about all the breakthroughs that were going on at the time, but they also realized what this could possibly lead to in terms of, hey man, we might end up destroying the world, but because of all the things that we're figuring out. So there's this gray area of morality that they really dig deep into with this particular movie. They're saying, oh, you got these scientific guys that are super excited. Hey man, look what we're discovering. Look at all the breakthroughs that are coming through. This is amazing. But then on the other hand, you got like the government and the military that are like, yeah, we like all of this stuff that you guys are looking into. Yeah, how can we weaponize this? You get that side of it as well. And, then there becomes the morality piece. Well, do we try to end the war quick with one big bomb that maybe wipes out a whole lot of people, but it prevents further loss of life? You get those kind of conversations as well. I thought that was really handled very well by Christopher Nolan. A lot of directors would have just skipped right over that. And they would have focused on the building of the bomb, the arguments between the engineers and the scientists and all the various little departments that were putting the bomb together. A lot of directors would have just focused on that, and then the actual dropping of the bomb, and then all of the, aftermath afterwards, and that would have been the movie. And there wouldn't have been anything wrong with it, but I think bringing in this different aspect actually gives you more of a film. It's a character study into these individuals, how they thought, their thought processes. The film is really the 3 phases, I guess you could say, of Oppenheimer's life. Before the Manhattan Project, during the Manhattan Project, and then after the Manhattan Project. You got these 3 phases. And I think what I liked is that it's almost a peek over his shoulder. That's what it is. It's really like, it's almost like Oppenheimer is narrating the story, except he's not. You're just kind of peeking over his shoulder, and you're kind of hearing him discuss his philosophy, the way that he sees the world, the different things that he's into, all of the different various disciplines that he's gone through, his communist leanings, his relationships with women. Apparently this cat was a big ladies man, okay? He was a scoundrel. This cat was out there getting it in, but how it affected him, how all of these relationships with the government, with women, with his communist friends, how all of this affected him and the work that he was doing. And what I liked is that he wasn't the smartest guy necessarily in terms of being the best scientist or being the best mathematician or the best engineer, but he was the dude with the vision. I always talk about visions, and sometimes you need a visionary to kind of see the entire project overall, look over it, okay? It's the same thing with Oppenheimer. This guy was the visionary. He was a great thinker. He knew what they needed to get it done, even if he wasn't necessarily the greatest of these individual disciplines, but he was the overall architect that saw it all coming together. Hey, if we can get this done, and this done, we got something. And that part of his character, I never knew anything about. It's like, oh, okay, that's who Oppenheimer was. And I found that very fascinating. It's fantastic introspection. It's the kind of character work that you want to see, especially when you're talking about a historical figure, because with an historical figure, all of their deeds, everything they've done, you could read that in an encyclopedia. But what you don't get is, well, why? Why was this person the way he was? Why did he do the things that he did? How did he think? How did his thought process lead him to this? Why was he who he was, and how did he become that way? That's basically what I'm trying to say. So you get that with Oppenheimer, and it's very, very interesting how they pulled it off. Again, Christopher Nolan, a genius when it comes to this. Cillian Murphy, let's just say it right off the bat. Hands down, the best role he's ever had, and the best acting this guy has ever done. You could tell he really dove deep into this character to really bring out Oppenheimer for the world. And everybody honestly did a great job acting out all of these historical figures. Matt Damon did a great job. Josh Hartnett did a great job. Florence Pugh did a great job. Like I said before, it's a star-studded cast, right? There's a lot of surprises in this because there's people that I didn't even know that were in this movie. It's like, oh shit, there goes Casey Affleck, you know? Oh shit, it's Jack Quaid. Oh, it's Matt Modine. You know, it's like you got all of these amazing, great actors and they're just popping up and just playing little bit roles and then they excuse themselves. And it's like, holy shit, this is pretty cool, right? But honestly, the two big behemoth standouts, outside of Cillian Murphy, who is, you know, clearly the standout, but in terms of the supporting roles is Robert Downey Jr. and Emily Blunt. RDJ, he's getting an Oscar for this. I will put money on that. He will get an Oscar for this. Emily Blunt did an amazing job as well. Her role playing Kitty Oppenheimer is every time she's on the screen, you're like this. You're just mesmerized. You shut up. I don't want to hear from you. I'm watching Emily. I'm watching Emily act. She does an amazing job. She's a great actress. But overall, like the filmmaking, like I said, from Nolan, it's back on brand, okay? Back on brand after Tenet. Tenet was it was a little side job or something, it feels like anyway. This is probably his best film since Inception. Inception is my favorite Christopher Nolan film. And it might be, you know, there might be some competition if I get a couple of more rewatches with this film, because I absolutely think this is right there, right next to Inception. Now, this is a 3-hour film, okay? And I'll be very, very honest with you. To me, it feels like a 3-hour film, but it's a good 3 hours. It's not bloated, all right? It's not extra stuff. It's like, why is this in here? You know, it takes its time and it doesn't rush. And that's exactly what you want from a film like this. It takes its time, lays everything out for you, and you're enjoying all 3 hours of the film. You're not checking your watch like, damn, when is this thing going to be over? You know, that's the good thing about this film. Very cinematic, beautiful to watch. Oh my God, let me talk about the soundtrack. This is one of the best film scores you're going to see, or hear, I should say, in a long time. The film score is impeccable. Very Hitchcockian. I told a friend of mine, very Hitchcockian. If you know Alfred Hitchcock and you know the way that he uses musical score to kind of heighten the tension, right? To bring the heat, to bring the energy to a particular scene, to make it more dramatic. That's this film. This film does that in spades all throughout the film. There was a time where I was like, is this thing going to slow down? I mean, I'm gripping my arm seats already. Do they want me to tear the damn thing off? Because it's that gripping and everything that's happening, it just flows beautifully. I think this is going to be one of the best films of the year. Easily, hands down, the best film I've seen so far this year. I think it's going to be due for a lot of awards during award season. And it will be well deserved, you know. And that's the beautiful thing about Christopher Nolan films. No laser beams, no fist fights, right? Okay, no special effects. Just a grounded human story about a man who did something incredible. You know, Oppenheimer. He did something incredible, and then there was all the fallout after that. Highly recommended. Anyway, folks, that's my review for Oppenheimer. If you guys saw the film, let me know what you think. Go ahead, get down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and your opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.